Domains of action concepts. This chapter focuses on how the kinds of action concepts, typically encoded by verbs, are represented and organized in the brain. Within the broad realm of action concepts, action verbs will be discussed. According to Kemmerer 2015, in our world, time flows forward and all our actions unfold in its medium. Languages all around the globe provide their speakers with a special inventory of words, namely verbs, that encode different kinds of events. Most of this research has taken into account both semantic and syntactic factors, because a verb is not just a word for a particular kind of event, but also the chassis of the sentence. It is a framework with receptacles for the other parts, the subject, the object, and the various oblique objects and subordinate clauses included in it. Moreover, the meaning of a verb tends to correlate with the range of syntactic constructions that can occur in it. Based on these correlations between semantics and syntax, Levin, 1993, sorted over 3,000 English verbs into 50 classes and 200 subclasses. Some of these classes are, for instance, verbs of throwing: bat, throw, catch. Verbs of searching: trace or run after, search. Verbs of image creation: draw, write, paint. Verbs of exerting a force: push, press, or pull. Verbs of gesture with specific body parts: point at, nod, shrug. Verbs of assuming a position: kneel, lean. Verbs of ingesting: drink, eat. Verbs of change of possession: give, steal, buy or sell. As the grounded cognition model maintains, concepts are anchored in modality-specific systems for perception and action, such that understanding word meanings involves activating high-level sensory and motor representations of the lexis. Action concepts consist of long-term records of sensory and motor patterns that are stored in different cortical areas depending on their content. Let's consider, for example, the verb hop, as in the horse is hopping. The grounded cognition model suggests that visual semantic records specifying how hopping events appear are stored in the same posterolateral temporal areas that recognize such movements, and the motor semantic records that specify how hopping events are performed may be stored in the same parietal and frontal areas that contribute to the preparation of such movements. In this domain of action concepts, action verbs will be discussed. Transitivity is one of the most basic aspects of the linguistic representation of action. Transitive verbs designate events that involve two core participants, an actor and an undergoer. The actor is syntactically expressed as a subject-noun phrase, and the undergoer being syntactically expressed as an object-noun phrase. According to the theory called role and reference grammar, the actor of an event is the individual that performs, instigates, or controls it, whereas the undergoer is the one that is affected by it. For example, kiss is a transitive verb because it specifies a kisser and a kissee, being the first participant the subject and the second participant the object. In contrast to transitive verbs, intransitive verbs designate events that involve just one core participant, syntactically expressed by a subject-noun phrase. A growing body of neuroscientific literature suggests that transitive verbs recruit certain central and parietal regions, as well as Broca's area, significantly more than intransitive verbs and sentences. This shows that Broca's area is essential for processing the spatio-temporal organization of the types of object-directed actions that are encoded by transitive verbs. In conclusion, we may say that action verbs fall into two large domains: transitive verbs, which designate events with two core participants, and intransitive verbs, which designate events with only one core participant. Besides, transitive verbs depend more than intransitive verbs on certain temporal and parietal regions and also on Broca's area. Good afternoon, guys.
Good afternoon.
Today we'll be dealing with the topic action verbs. Okay? Whenever we think of action verbs, what is it that comes to your minds? Verbs expressing what mainly? Activities. Good, very good. Like, for example, run, right. Eat. Good. Dance. Okay. Well, today we'll see that action verbs involve two main categories: transitive and intransitive verbs. Okay? Okay, guys. Tell me, do you have any idea of what transitive and intransitive verbs are?
For example, I run is an intransitive verb.
Good. Oh, good. Any other example?
I bought a pen is a transitive verb.
Good. Any other example?
Climbing the mountain is a transitive.
The mountains. Okay. Good. That's transitive.
Transitive verb.
Good. Carla?
Go to the school.
Mhm.
Transitive.
Transitive. Can you repeat your example, please?
I go to the school.
I go to school. Okay. Do you think that's transitive? Okay. What kind of verb is go?
Intransitive.
Intransitive. Good. Intransitive. Any other example? Melissa?
I eat ice cream.
Good. Excellent. Okay. Well, now we'll be looking at a video, and you'll hear a native speaker, a person who describes her experience in Mendoza. Okay? As you listen to the video, please write down in your papers whether the verbs that you hear are transitive or intransitive. So you will be writing down the verbs in two different categories, transitive and intransitive verbs. And as you hear the person speaking, you will place the verbs in the correct category. Okay? You understand?
Yes.
Marion Brown. She's from Manchester, England. And we'd like to know a little bit about what she's doing here in Mendoza, and details about her trip and her stay here.
Okay.
Okay, Marion, can you tell us about your experience in Mendoza?
Well, I came to Mendoza in 2006 to live. I'd been here the year before when I wanted to climb Aconcagua, but we couldn't make it that time. We couldn't climb it that time.
Okay.
And I thought Mendoza was a beautiful place to live, so I came here the year after.
Oh, wonderful.
And settled. Yeah.
So you're a climber, aren't you?
I'm an andinista.
Oh, right.
I do easy mountains, which are high. I don't do technical mountains.
Oh, I see.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And what can you tell us about what you are doing here in Mendoza and what you usually do in your free time when you are not climbing?
Actually, I spend a lot of my time preparing to climb.
Oh,
I do a lot. I go running regularly. I do weightlifting in the gym, and I used to go cycling, cross-country cycling, but that got too much altogether.
Oh, I see.
I'm 70.
Oh,
I'm 70. Yeah.
good. Okay.
You can't do everything.
Okay, good. Yeah. Marion, tell us something about your idea before coming here. Why did you choose Mendoza to live?
I come from Manchester. Manchester has a climate which is cool for England, which means cold for Mendoza. It's wet. It rains practically every day. And I came to Mendoza and it was sunny every day. So I came back in winter to check, and it was still sunny every day. What more does a girl want?
Okay, good. Okay.
And I like the people as well. I found the people very friendly and helpful.
Right. Okay.
And so I rented a flat, a house, and bought my furniture and moved in.
Wonderful. Have you made friends here in Mendoza?
I have several close friends and quite a few acquaintances.
Good.
I'm not really a very sociable person.
Oh.
But,
Okay. Okay, I see. So, can you consider that you have fulfilled your aims, your dreams when coming here?
most of them, yes.
Mm-hmm.
After I climbed Aconcagua, the year after I came here in 2007, I decided I wanted to climb the 10 highest mountains in Argentina.
Wow!
Just as a thing to do, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And I've climbed most of them, but I've still got the Tupungato,
Mm-hmm.
which for me is more difficult because it has a lot of snow,
Oh, I see.
and I'm not very experienced in snow.
Right.
So I have to choose it at a time when there is not much wind, because it's very windy up on top,
Right.
and when there's not much snow.
Mm-hmm.
And those two have to coincide with the time when I have my permission, because you have to go via Chile. It's very complicated from Argentina.
Oh, I see. Good,
So-
good, good.
That's why I haven't done it yet. Haven't climbed it yet.
Okay, wonderful. Good, guys. Now that you've heard Marion describing her life in Mendoza, could you write down the different verbs that you heard in the video?
Yes.
Good. Could you classify them into the two different categories, transitive and intransitive?
Yes.
Okay. Would you please give me examples of transitive verbs?
Climb.
Good.
Fire.
Good.
Make.
Okay.
Visit.
Good.
Decide.
Okay.
Drive.
Good.
Spend.
Spend. Good.
Choose.
Okay.
Check.
Okay.
Rent.
Yeah. Good. What about intransitive verbs?
Came.
Mm-hmm.
Go.
Okay.
Live.
Okay.
Become.
Mm-hmm.
Rain.
Mm-hmm.
Want.
Yeah. Okay. Well, actually, you mentioned, for example, the verb become that is or belongs to a different category of verbs, to the category of linking verb. Okay? So that's not transitive or intransitive. That's a linking verb. Yeah? Okay? Good.
Noah, how are you?
No, but
Okay, let's start with the first pair.
Noah, how are you?
fine, and you?
Great. What did you do in your last holiday?
Well, I went to Mar del Plata and rented a bike to ride it along the beach.
Did you enjoy it?
Yes, I spent a great time with my family.
Wonderful. See you next week.
See you.
Good, excellent. Okay.
Alex,
Hello, Nelly.
how was your birthday party last Saturday?
It was great. It was a great day.
What did you do? Who did you invite?
I invited some friends and we made a barbecue. And after that, we drank some beers and we went to dance. We went dancing, sorry.
Oh, great. See you tomorrow.
See ya.
Hello, how are you? Hi, I'm fine. What did you do in the winter holidays? Very good, thanks. We had an amazing time in the mountains. Oh, Who did you run with?
I went with my 3 cousins.
Oh, nice. I hope one day we can see them.
Yes, of course. I have to go now, but let's keep in touch.
Okay, see you.
Wonderful, guys. Okay, well, as you can see, we've practiced transitive and intransitive verbs through these short conversations. Let's make a conclusion about the transitive and intransitive verbs. What would be the structure of transitive verbs? What do you think?
Transitive verbs
Take
take an object, then you have a subject and
Very
the
good.
receiver of
very good.
they have the action.
Very good. They have a subject, and then they have another participant, which is the object, right? Yes. Whereas the intransitive verbs, how many participants do they take?
They take only one participant because they don't take an object.
Okay, good. Excellent, guys. Okay, thank you for coming, and see you next class.
See you.
See you. By using this teaching methodology, EFL students got involved in the topic of the class first by providing examples of transitive and intransitive verbs in isolation and in context. Then, they reflected on different aspects of the topic more explicitly, listened to a native speaker's description of her stay in Mendoza, identifying the transitive and intransitive verbs that they heard, and classifying them into the 2 different categories. Next, they shared the 2 categories of verbs with their peers by saying them aloud and reflecting upon the different kinds of action verbs, transitive and intransitive, their meanings and structure. Finally, students used transitive and intransitive verbs in context in a more spontaneous and independent way by making up short conversations based on a topic provided by the teacher.